What up? This is Caroline with the CWC podcast, where we believe that life without your favorite foods is not worth living. I'm going to be talking a lot about my journey to food freedom, and of course, I will always keep it real by sharing the good, the bad, and of course, the ugly. We are back on the CWC podcast today. I am going to be talking all about breast implant illness. My journey, probably going to get fired up today. There's been a lot of things that have happened over the past just week and a half. I feel like things have quadrupled in regards to messages that I've been receiving from women from all over. I literally was up so late last night talking to women, like different women after, like it was like, I even had to like take a break because Bryn kept running in the room, and you know, some of these things I don't want her hearing, and I would have to say, give mommy just a minute, like let me finish this message. And of course, you know, the guilt that comes with that, like shooing my kid away so that I can like talk, but it's such a big deal. And when I'm having these conversations with these women that I've never met, they're confiding things in me, and I'm also confiding things in them that are important, and they're really serious. So it's not like I'm just like making a post. Like I'm having a really deep conversation, and it feels necessary to be in the moment and listen and provide advice or help or whatever it is. So I sat her down and explained to her. I said, look, mommy is talking to women that are sick and they don't feel good. And, you know, mommy went through the same thing. So I'm trying to help them, because I feel like it's important to let her know what I'm doing so that she understands. Like, I'm not just like, get out of my room. Like I want to help this person, and then we'll go back to having our family time. But, you know, I spend a lot of time talking to women day in and day out about breast implant illness. And the reason I continue to talk about things like this and do podcast episode after podcast episode about it is because I don't know, in the vain hope, I think one day, you know, I'll reach one more person who maybe is a part of the medical community or a doctor, or and maybe make them think differently. And then maybe that will have a trickle effect in their practice, or maybe that will have a trickle effect in their life with someone they know that maybe is also struggling with it, and that will trickle. So like, I see this almost similarly to the way I saw the community growing. Like, I talk all the time about when I started Community with Caroline 4 years ago, I saw what it is today the day I started it. I knew it was going to be big. I knew it. I had all these visions before anyone else believed in it, before anyone else knew what it was. It started out as like a 30-day challenge. I saw all these things now before. I see this in the very same way. Like, I see this being so big. And even a year or 2 years down the road, I see more doctors acknowledging this and believing patients and listening to them and helping them find solutions. And, you know, furthermore, not just like step one is getting people to understand that it's real. I would think a really more important, crucial step, maybe step 2 or 3, is insurance companies need to fucking cover this. This isn't like a cosmetic. Like, this cannot be labeled a cosmetic surgery. I know so many women who just flat out pay out of pocket for it because they're desperate. Like me, I just paid for my surgery. I didn't care. I put it on my credit card and I paid it off. Like, but there's women who don't have that option. And it's beyond frustrating for me to hear story after story of, well, I feel like I'm dying, but I can't afford to get the surgery. That's bullshit. Insurance companies need to pay for this. And I get really fired up when I hear someone say, well, you put them in. Motherfucker, we weren't properly informed of the risks. And maybe no one knew the risks back then, which I find very hard to believe. I feel like people knew the risks. Most. I was never properly informed. And again, like maybe people weren't aware of like all these crazy things that they could cause until now, you know, with social media and podcasts and everyone being able to have a voice and share their story. I think that's how it is, like it's picking up steam and everybody's hearing about it. So, all right, I'm going to try to stay on track. I know I never do. This is my story. I'm going to say things today that I've never shared. I literally shared what I'm about to share with you. I shared this morning in my bathroom with a client who also has breast implant illness, and she's about to explant for the first time. Like, this is stuff I have not even shared with my husband because it was scary. And this is part of my breast implant illness journey that I have yet to say anything about because I was fearful. Good God, my notes. And I want to just say real quick, the only reason I am opening up about this is because I had the validation last night through talking to about 15 women who said the same thing. They said, oh my God, you have those thoughts too. Oh my God, tell me more. How, like what? What things are you thinking that you can't stop thinking about? It was the validation of, holy fuck, this is probably all related. So I feel more comfortable now opening up about it. This is something I honestly never thought I would share with anyone. So, you know, I talk about, I'll kind of give a quick overview of how my symptoms began, how I didn't even realize that it could be breast implant illness until after I booked my explant, which a lot of you are probably like, what? But I'm going to explain it because I'm just going to walk you through what I went through. I was very open about the fact I did steroids like 2.5, 3 years ago. When, you know, before I did that, physically, I was in the best shape of my life. Best shape of my life. I'd never been in shape like that. I had 6-pack abs year round. Everything was easy. Going to the gym was easy. I never struggled with it. I had energy on energy on energy. I was healthy as fuck. I was eating. I was following my macros just nothing fazed me. It was fucking easy. I never struggled with the gym. I never struggled with low energy levels ever. I had generalized anxiety, but nothing crazy. Never had brain fog. I was always sharp as a fucking tack. Like, my memory was always really like on point. Like, I can remember phone numbers from my friends in middle school still to this day. Some of that has faded. Just never had I never had health issues. I'm talking like genetically, I take after my dad's side of the family, and they're all really fucking healthy. Like, you can't argue genetics. I've talked about that before. I've literally think I've been sick 3 times in my entire life. Like, that was kind of how I was. So I'm setting the stage. That was me my whole life. When I started working out and got in the best shape, I worked out every day and never struggled. Like, I never missed a day at the gym. I worked out 6 days a week. After I did steroids, you know, because it's never enough. I always have to push the envelope. Like, what's next? I got to have more and more and more. Like, that's just our mentality. So I did steroids. And when I did that, I noticed during the round that I was doing, I was having trouble peeing. And I thought it was because of the steroids I was taking. I could not empty my bladder. It was so weird. Like, so I was like, oh my God, what if I'm going into kidney failure? You know, this is like my worst case scenario, catastrophizing mentality. What if I'm in kidney failure? Like, I can't pee. Started getting really tired. And I was working for my husband at the time I was like the office manager at his lawn and landscape company. I would have to take days off because I thought I was sick. I thought I had the flu. Multiple times I would wake up and literally didn't have the energy to get out of bed. This was at the time I think my body had it had so much, like, I don't think I knew how to handle or process the stuff I was putting into my body. So my body began to kind of shut down is what I felt like. I was just like on a fucking rampage. Like, I was working out, lifting heavy, you know, putting this stuff in my body that I shouldn't have done, pushing it to the limit. And my body finally started to say, fuck you. I can't do this. Like, dude, kids and you're working really hard and you've got a full-time job and now you're starting to like, I was getting into like, you know, I don't want to say social media. I've always been into social media, but like really helping other women while I was still working and trying to figure out how I could turn that into my job, which now is Community with Caroline. So I had a lot on my plate, but I just kept going and going and going and going and pushing every boundary. My body started to shut down. And if I was able to get up and go to work and work out, I would come home and fall asleep on the couch. And I couldn't stop it. Like my eyes would just shut and I would literally fall asleep for like an hour on the couch while my husband made dinner. And he'd be like, Caroline, time to wake up and eat. Like it was bizarre. And shortly after I stopped taking the steroids, because I noticed how the tiredness wasn't going away. So I was like, I'm just going to get off of these, see if I feel better. Stopped taking them. I was still tired. That didn't really stop. It kind of progressively got worse. And I went to my doctor because I was so tired. I mean, it was getting to the point where I could barely function day to day. No exaggeration. Could barely keep my eyes open. And my doctor was like, you are in like severe adrenal fatigue. Like, and I was like, at the time I didn't know what that was. I was like, what does that even mean? She was like, your adrenals are cashed. Like they're done. Like whatever you've done to and I didn't tell her. I didn't want to tell her what I did. She was like, whatever you've done, like you need to like take it easy. Like, and I was like, so I can't work out? And she was like, I would advise you to like start doing yoga or something. And I was like, oh my dear. No. Yeah. You don't know me. Like I'm not doing yoga. I'm not a yoga person and I never will be. No. So stubborn ass Caroline was like, fuck that shit. Like I'm not going to stop lifting weights. So what happened from there on out energy wise is I would try to push myself and I would go to the gym like regular. And if I had the energy to make it through my workout, I would feel like death warmed over for about 2 or 3 days after that workout. Most of the time I would have to take a day off of work and literally lay in bed. For people who have been following me and been friends with me for a long time and they've been watching my Instagram stories, I guarantee you guys know exactly what I'm talking about because I would post about it. I would be like, yeah, I would be literally in bed, Instagram story, like, I feel so bad today. I don't know what it is, but I had to take a day off of work, but I don't have I'm not sick. Like sometimes I would go to the doctor and be like, what's wrong? And she would run all these tests and nothing would be wrong. And she kept saying, take it easy, take it easy. And I wouldn't listen. I didn't listen. Shortly after this, I started noticing that I had excess saliva in my mouth, like very weird. Like it got so bad that I called my mom one day. I'll never forget. I actually remember where I was in my car and I called my mom and I was like, have you ever had like excess saliva buildup in your mouth? Like, and it won't go away. And she was like, no, what are you talking about? I was like, it's okay. It's weird. Never mind. It's weird. Maybe it's just something bizarre. Like just whatever. I went to my doctor and asked her. And I was like, I know this sounds really weird, but have you ever had a patient complain about this? And she was like, no. She said, go to the dentist, see if it's like a dental issue. So went to the dentist. The dentist was like, your teeth are great. Like there's nothing wrong with like your teeth. He was like, if anything, that's a good thing. If anything, I see more people complaining of dry mouth. And I was like, oh my God. So like you circle back around, now you're back to square one. Like no one can help me. There was one morning I literally stood over my sink and was like spitting into the sink. And I was like, and it was at that moment when I was like hovered over the sink. I was like, this can't be normal. Like I don't see my husband doing this. Like what the fuck is going on? Shortly after the excess saliva, I had this excess swallowing because of the excess saliva. Well, then I started this throat clearing thing, which this has not gone away yet, by the way. Like that all fucking day. It gets really bad at night. When I lay down, it gets terrible. Well, a lot of people are like, oh, it's allergies. I do that too. I'm like, it's not allergies. And in this, I'm telling you this, a lot of this stuff was a knowing, like an inner knowing of like, I've never had this before. I've had allergies before and I've never laid in bed like, for like hours. That's never been a side effect of my allergies. This is not, something's weird. And I searched and searched for answers for so long that finally when no one knew what it was and literally was like, my doctors were looking at me like I was crazy. I was like, maybe this is just part of this, like steroids. I was like I've maybe like fucked up my voice, which I did. Maybe that's just like a side effect from the steroids that I just have to live with from now on. And still maybe I don't know. But again, like fast forward a couple years, I've talked to thousands of women who are like, oh my God, the excessive swallowing and the throat clearing. I have that too. So I'm like, no, it's not the steroids. It's breast implant illness. So anyway, I'm just going to start like putting my notes on the ground okay. I'm going to try to go through all my symptoms, because if a woman is watching this today and they know nothing about me, I want to go through all my symptoms so that I cover everything. Anxiety began to set in terribly. I'm talking like anxiety so bad that it would like cause a panic attack. Heart palpitations at night. Brain fog. I'm going to tell you a story about the brain fog. Exhaustion, fatigue. I've already talked about that. Bladder issues, like overactive bladder is what they diagnose you with, which I was diagnosed with that at the urologist a week before my explant. Overactive bladder, which is basically feeling like you have to pee all the time, but when you go to pee, like your bladder doesn't fully empty, so then you still feel like you like literally live all day feeling like you have to pee. It's terrible. That's a very common symptom of breast implant illness. A lot of women complain of headaches. I never really had the terrible migraine headaches, so that was not one of my symptoms. I had ear pain, like my left ear felt muffled all the time. Literally went to an ENT. He checked my ear, both of them, and was like, literally nothing is wrong with your ears. He was like, let's send you to an audiologist to test like your hearing. The audiologist told me that I hear better than 95% of people she sees. So there was nothing wrong with my hearing. And I was like, I looked at him and I was like, I'm not a hypochondriac. I promise. Like, I don't go to doctors. Something is wrong with my ear. I'm telling you, I'm not crazy. My right ear's fine. I can hear perfectly. My left ear is muffled. It feels like there's something inside of my ear. He saw nothing. So I spent $300 at the ENT to tell me that I was fine. What else? Joint pain. If I had $1 for every time a woman reached out to me on Instagram and said, I'm tired of feeling like a 90-year-old in a 30-year-old woman's body. I said that to Josh hundreds of times. I went from being in the best shape of my life, lifting 300 pounds on a hip thrust, deadlifting 150 pounds, smashing goals in the gym daily, to not being able to roll over and get out of my bed without hunched over walking to the bathroom because my knees were buckling because of the joint pain. My joint pain was in my elbows and my knees. Horrible. I still sometimes have intermittent joint pain. It's gotten 1,000,000 times better. But it was so bad that some days I was hobbling to walk, and I legitimately felt like a 90-year-old woman. I did not feel like it was my body. I swear to God, it was the weirdest feeling. So joint pain, hair loss. My hair used to be thick as fuck. It is now thin. It's starting to come back very slowly, but my hair thinned really, really bad towards like right before I explanted. Scary thoughts, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss any of the symptoms. I should have printed them out because there was like 25 of them. Low libido, literally can't stand talking to people. Your fuse as a person goes from here to about here. And I talked to a bunch of women who are, so I'm an introvert. So for me, that's not really like out of the ordinary to not have a fuse to talk to people. But for an extrovert, like I had a lot of girlfriends who also had breast implant illness, and they were like, dude, I'm normally like, I will love going to the grocery store and like talking to people. I don't want anyone to look at me anymore. That was part of it, which is weird, but I've thousands of women have said this exact same thing. Like your fuse just goes very short with your kids, with your family, with your friends, anyone trying to talk to you. You don't want to hear it. You just very on edge because you know something's wrong deep down. Low libido, hair loss, exhaustion, fatigue. God damn it, I'm missing something. Throat clearing, swallowing, choking. I woke up in the middle of the night feeling like someone had their hands around my neck. Difficulty breathing, that's normal. That's like the number one thing. That's the number one thing that clears up pretty quickly after explanting. Like I literally woke up from my explant surgery and could actually breathe. That was no joke. That was instantly better. My bladder stuff was the next day I was peeing normal, and I have yet to have problems going to the bathroom and peeing since my explant surgery. That was something that like, boom, cleared up right away. But the choking thing was scary as fuck. Legit one night woke up and was like, I'm dying. I shook my husband awake and I was like, I can't breathe. And he was like, what? Like he was like half awake. He was like, what are you talking? I was like, I feel like I'm dying. Like it felt like I was having a heart attack. Like literally my oxygen was like cut off. It felt like someone had their hands around my throat. Difficulty swallowing started happening right before my explant. And that was terrifying. Almost as terrifying as the sensation of someone choking you, because I would be eating and then I'd be like if it was almost like I had to concentrate on swallowing. So like I'd be standing at my counter in our kitchen. And if I say I was eating like a bagel, I would have to stop and like not look at the television and be like, and like focus just to swallow my food. It was so bizarre. I think I've listed all the symptoms. I'm sure I've forgotten something. The brain fog, I'm going to tell you a story about the brain fog. Essentially, this was all like, and it still is, it feels like a really bad dream that I can't wake up from. And I'm going to go into that too. Okay. Leave that. I haven't talked about that yet. Okay. This is my last thing I want to talk about. Talk about this. Okay. Organize my notes. So the brain fog has gotten a lot better. I'd say I'd probably classify it on a scale of 1 to 100 prior to my explant. I would say it was about an 80 or an 85. Now it's around, I'd say probably a 10 or a 15. So significantly better, but it still comes and goes. I'm going to give you a perfect example. So a couple months after I explanted, I was laying in bed and we have a mammoth donkey and his name is Henry. We rescued him. He had like, when we rescued him, his hooves were so overgrown that they were like curled. It was terrible. He couldn't even walk. My husband saw him on Facebook, instantly fell in love. I was like, he was like, I want to rescue this donkey. And I was like, great. So we get him in, we rehab him. We trimmed his hooves down. It took multiple trimmings. He's basically spoiled rotten now. And he's like one of our favorites because he's just the funniest thing ever. Anyway, long story short. So we've had Henry for over a year. Laying in bed, Josh was out in the field with Kyler and he called me and he said, hey, I'm bringing Henry up to the pen. And by this, mind you, like this, we've had Henry, like I said, for about over a year at this point. And he's like, I'm bringing Henry up to the pen because I need to look at his foot. He's like limping. And I was like, who's Henry? And literally sat there for like maybe a minute. And I was like, Henry. You know who Henry is? Henry. And I literally texted my husband and I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, Henry, we're bringing him up to the pen. Like, what are you talking about? Are you asleep or drunk? Like, what the fuck is going on? It took me almost 2 full minutes to figure out who he was talking about. Swear to God. Like, it's like your brain randomly chooses to just shut off. And you're standing there, sometimes in front of people, searching for the word you want and you can't find it. It is fucking bizarre. Another example, before I explanted, I dropped my kids off to school every day. Every day they argue, who's going to get dropped off first? They both want to get dropped off last. So I was like, okay, we're dropping Kyler off first today. Tomorrow we're dropping Brent off, and then etc. Like, that's the fair way to do it. I could never, ever remember from day to day who I dropped off first. I couldn't remember. Every morning I was like, who are we dropping off first today? And Kyler would be like, how do you not remember, Mom? You dropped me off first yesterday. I just didn't remember. Wasn't there. After I explanted and I started taking them to school again, about 5 or 6 days after, I think it was 7 days after I got my explant and lift, I was able to drive and okay. And I like literally almost started crying because I was like, we dropped you off. I looked at Kyler and I said, we dropped you off first yesterday, didn't we? And he was like, you remembered. And I was like, I did. It was wild. Like, it was wild. Like, suddenly my brain opened up and like could access memories again. It was fucking crazy. So the brain fog is better. That story's told. I'm just going right through my list. So I'm going to go into the scary part of this now. I was contacted yesterday by someone who had come across my page. And she sent me a message and said, can you talk more about the intrusive thoughts and the scary thoughts that because I've said scary thoughts and I've said suicidal thoughts. I've said that those are the only two terms I've used. I haven't gone into depth about it because I said I've been too fearful. And she said, can you please elaborate on that? Because I'm having them and they're like ruining my life. And I just want to know from you what yours were like so that I can connect the dots if this is related to my breast implants. So I, of course, told her, I confided in her and told her some of the scary thoughts that I had. She's had the same. I get another message from another girl. I'm telling you, this was like boom last night. I swear to God, it was a sign that I needed to talk about this today. I literally canceled my plans this morning to film this because I felt so compelled by all the messages I received yesterday and I hadn't even started talking about it. Probably 6 within 30 minutes, 6 messages, same message. I have these really scary thoughts of death all the time. I can't escape it. It's not normal. It's not just being worried about your family. It's not the normal worry that regular people have. It's like you can't escape them. And they ruin your life and they haunt you every day. So all these messages flood in and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are I haven't even talked about this yet. So I start just telling them my story and they're like, oh my God. One of them said, I feel like you've changed my life tonight because I have felt so alone. And I've thought that there was something really wrong. Like I was losing my mind legitimately. She said, I can't even tell my husband. I haven't even told my husband. I said, I haven't even told my husband either. So I'm sitting here having all these conversations last night with all these women about these like thoughts of death. So I'm gonna tell you how mine started. I was at my kids' school. I don't remember when this was. It was last spring or maybe it was before COVID started because we were still doing assemblies and stuff. So I'd say maybe within a year of me explanting. At this point, my breast implant illness symptoms, which I didn't know was breast implant illness related yet, I just thought I was dying. I'm not joking. I thought I was dying. You can ask my husband how many times I asked him, what if I'm dying? So they're getting worse. Like at this point, I'm barely functioning. We're at my kids' school. Bryn was doing a program. They just finished their little thing. It was adorable. I go to take a picture of my husband with my daughter and I snap the photo and I'm not exaggerating. This is exactly how this happened. It's burned into my brain. Snap the photo and she had an orange shirt on. And the second I snapped it, the word death like blasted into my brain. I can't explain how overcoming this sensation was. Just a very ominous feeling. Like I'm getting chills talking about it. I've never talked about this because I'm fearful of like saying it out loud. You know, when you have a bad dream, like a really bad dream and someone says, what was your dream about? And you're like, I don't want to talk about it. This is what that's like. So I couldn't look at the photo. Every time I looked at, I don't know what it was, but every time I looked at this photo, that's the word that infiltrated my mind was death. And I was like, what the fuck? And as I was standing there, I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Why am I thinking this? It was like I had no control over my mind. I had never, ever experienced this in my life. It was almost like something else was in my brain telling me what to think and I couldn't make it stop. I couldn't shut it off. It was too traumatic. So then I had this game I played. I was like, I kept looking at it, hoping that I wouldn't think that. So I mean, literally throughout that day, I kept like, I would look at it, I would literally stop and I would like, okay, clear your mind. Like it was just a fluke, like clear your mind, look at it. And I'd look at the picture and that thought, I can't explain it. And it terrified me to the core. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. It since that day, like my life has not been the same. And I'm not trying to be dramatic. These women that reached out to me last night said the same fucking thing. Like, I cannot escape these thoughts. Why? Like, why are they there? I've never thought like this before. I've never had problems like this before with like what I'm thinking about. Why am I like so consumed with death and like so fearful of like losing, you know, some of them said they were like fearful day to day of like their parents dying. One of them said she was so fearful that she was for sure she was going to die and she was worried about what her husband was going to do. One of them was fearful of her husband dying. One of them was fearful of her children dying, like me. It was bizarre. And to be very honest, I never ever thought that that was going to be something that I would share publicly. But I feel like I'm feeling called to share this right now. You know, there's a timing for everything. This is why I'm doing this. When someone gaslights us or doesn't believe us or says that breast implant illness isn't real, it's just aging, you can go fuck yourself. This is not just, I don't feel good. This is ruining women's lives. And when I say ruining, I mean that. It's not just I'm tired and I have to take a day off to rest and, you know, maybe lose money and take a sick day. It's, I have no control over my thoughts. I can't tell anyone about it because no one's going to fucking believe me. If they believe me, they're going to think I'm fucking nuts. And then on top of that, no doctors can help you. So it's not like going somewhere and having a diagnosis of like, I don't know, cancer or lupus or something that they like have like defined as a medical illness. And then they can go, here's what you do. You go to a doctor for help and they can't help you. And a lot of them don't believe you. So then you really feel crazy. A lot of women I talk to, their spouses don't believe them. And that's the worst. Like, it's ruining lives of probably hundreds of thousands of women. We're living day to day on like a thread. That's what I felt like for 2 years. I lost everything. I lost the ability to work out, which is what helped my anxiety. I lost the ability to function most days because I was so fucking tired from the fatigue. I lost the ability to pee like a normal human being. I lost the ability over my mind to control my mind for a long time. And, you know, I talked this morning with my client about these thoughts that I had not opened up about yet. And I told her, you know, after I explanted, that was like the one thing I wanted to see if like that was different. And so I still had that photo in my phone. I pulled it up and I looked at it and did not have that overwhelming sense of doom for the first time. It was nice. It was like, oh dear God, that went away. Like it didn't go away for so long and now it's gone. I still have it there. It's that memory of how it made me feel. It's like a trigger. So I still know that I thought that way. So it's hard to escape it. Like I said, it's like a bad dream that I can't wake up from. There's so many days where I wake up, you know, this is just my life now. I'm healing. I'm feeling much better. A lot of my symptoms have already resolved, but I still have some that are there. And I understand that. I'm a very realistic person. I'm never going to tell a woman, you 100% will be cured if you explant, because I don't know that. There are some women who don't feel better after explanting, but the ratio from what I've seen in my life and my eyeballs from real women, the ratio is very small of women who just don't feel better after explanting. Now, I don't know what else is going on medically, but I will tell you the majority of women I talk to who I know personally who explant, they feel immediately better, and then their symptoms with time mostly resolve. And they're seeing this. This is data. I'm not making this up. You can go online and look at the statistics. These are facts. Women feel this way and they have 20 to 25 symptoms, give or take a few. Then they explant. Then the symptoms resolve. That's data. So it fucking blows my mind that doctors aren't acknowledging. I don't want to say that. I'm not going to generalize. Some doctors are not acknowledging this at all. Like they're refusing to like open up their brain for 5 seconds and think that, oh, there actually could be something to this. Like, get with the times, wake up. I guarantee you someone you know is struggling with breast implant illness. They may not know it yet, but they are. I just thought I was living. I just thought this was my life. And then my friend, I had booked, to kind of digress a little bit and go back, I had booked a surgery to get mine redone. Like I said, all my symptoms were bad. I thought this was just my life. I didn't know what was going on. To be honest, I did not even think I didn't even know enough about breast implant illness at the time. So it was around 13 years that mine, you know, they were saggy. I had breastfed twice. It was time to renew. So I made an appointment with a surgeon, got a quote, paid $11,000 for my surgery to get new implants put in, silicone, the Mac Daddy basically of implants. So I paid my money. I went to my pre-op. I was 7 days prior to my surgery to get new implants in. And I went to my pre-op appointment, and the nurse, I remember I just clicked with this nurse. I clicked with her instantly. I still talk to her to this day. She's a sweetheart. And I said, I was looking over the waiver, and you see, it's almost like you know what the release form is going to say, but you don't want to read it. Well, I read it this time because I was like really trying to weigh I had this really nagging feeling in the pit of my stomach for like 2 weeks after I booked my surgery and paid. I had it was like instant nagging, just eating me alive. And I remember calling my sister and I said, does this sound weird? I'm like 50% wanting to get my new implants, but 50% of me is telling me just to get them removed. Like, is that crazy? And she was like, if that's the way you're feeling, I don't think it's crazy. I think you need to kind of look into that. If you're 50-50, like maybe just don't do the surgery yet and think about it. It's like, oh, it's just nerves. Go to my pre-op and I see the words, this could potentially I'm paraphrasing, but it said something along the lines of, there's a risk that these could cause cancer. And I was like, oh, and my stomach sank. And she was like, are you all right? And I was like, I'm just really scared to go from saline to silicone. And she was like, I would be too. I don't blame you. Don't know what it was about her saying that, but it was like the fact that she wasn't like, you've got nothing to worry about. They're fine. They're safe. The fact that she didn't say that, I was like, maybe there's something to this feeling I'm having. So I was like shaking at this point because I was like, what the fuck? So I go home and my husband's on the couch. My kids are eating. I'm doing dishes. And I said, I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, how am I going to bring this up to him? And I said, Pooh Bear, what do you think if I just like, what if I like wanted him out? What if I like don't want implants? And he was like, what? Like, mind you, I've paid the money and I'm a week away from my surgery. He's like, where's this coming from? I thought you wanted implant. Where is this coming from? I was like, I don't know. But would you be okay if I just canceled my surgery? And maybe if I decided I just didn't want boobs at all. And he was like, I mean, he was so taken aback. He was like, it took him a minute to process it. But once I really was like, we had multiple conversations about this, mind you. I said, if I really wanted to get them out, would you support me? And he was like, it's your body. It's your body. At the end of the day, I'm not living in your body. And if you want them out, I've been with you before you put them in. I don't care. So he was supportive, obviously. Called and canceled my surgery. And I said, I just want to think about it for right now. So in my head, I'm like, I'm going to take some time just to think. And the next day, one of my girlfriends who I worked with at Hooters for years had her explant and she posted about it. She's like posted about all her symptoms that she had, how much better she was feeling. And that was my sign. Literally messaged her on Facebook and asked her all the things. And she told me, and she was like, you need to find, if you're going to do this in explant, you need to make sure that you get like a microsurgeon who knows what they're doing. They need to do the full capsulectomy, get all the capsules out. Like I knew none of this stuff. So I was like, wait, what capsules? What are you talking about? Don't you just take them out? She was like, no, you got to get the capsules out. So anyone who's watching this, like if you're thinking of just getting your implants out, you have to make sure you find a skilled surgeon to get the capsules out. So I just was like, who did yours? So she sent me his name and his name was Dr. Ho. And I called the next day and I booked a consultation and I took Josh and he was like, I like that guy. Like after our consult, Josh was like, I like him. Booked my surgery, started freaking out after because we were getting ready to move. And I was like, I need this done quicker. Like for some reason it was like this. So I made a post. I said, I've decided to get an explant. I had still not like connected the dots. Soon as I clicked post on that post of I think it started out saying I'm going to be a part of the itty bitty titty committee. Hundreds of women reached out to me and were like, oh my God, I've been struggling with these random symptoms. That's when my brain started like, oh my God. Because at the time that I booked my explant, it wasn't because I thought I had breast implant illness. I just knew I wanted them out and I didn't know why. I couldn't ignore it. Then it was like, holy fucking shit. What if all of these stupid, weird symptoms like my bladder and my throat, what if all of this is from my breast implants? Hit me like a ton of bricks. I have chills. Look at my arm. I have goosebumps. Sure enough, As soon as I thought it was related, well, I knew because I started posting and more women just started coming in and we started talking. I was convinced. I called and moved up my surgery. I was like, put me on the cancellation list. I don't care what day it is. Like, we're getting ready to move. I don't fucking care. Put me on the, and I told Josh, he was like, you need to wait till after we move so you can help me move. And I'm like, nope, nope, I'm moving it up. He was like, okay, we'll figure it out. Got called and they were like, can you come in 2 weeks for your surgery? I'm like, fuck yeah, I can. So that was it. I explanted. I felt instantly better after my explant. Like I said, I'm about 10 months post-op now. I have got a long way to go. The healing process is not short. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up your ass and tell you that you're magically going to feel better instantly. You won't. But a lot of my stuff, like I said, did instantly go away. Take a picture before your surgery, the day before. Then take pictures every day or every week after your surgery. Watch the changes that happen in your face. That, to me, you can't deny it. Your eyes go white after explanting. It's so weird. It's like you don't even realize how red or yellow they are. And then when you take your tits out, your eyes get white. It's fucking crazy. I've seen hundreds of pictures of these women. That's like the before and after. It's insane. The shape. Here's what's really weird. So I had redness in my chest and my face and my neck all the time. Never noticed it till I explanted. Then my skin went back to normal and all the redness disappeared. Literally the day after my explant. It was fucking wild. The shape of my face is what really blew my mind. My face before, I'm going to have JJ put a picture up. The shape of my face before was like almost sunken down here by my jaw like this. And I think it was 3 days post explant or 5 or 10, something like that. But the shape of my face started filling out. It was so weird. Like Dana was like, your face looks different now. How is that? We just kept calling each other and being baffled by all of this stuff that was happening, like just by removing them. It was so wild. Okay. So anyway, I made a post the other day and I want to say this here. I know that like I talk about this all the time. I feel very called to do so. This isn't I'm not doing this to like empower women to take their life back and make decisions on their own and love your body without foreign objects. This is a lot deeper than that. This is life or death. I know personally women who have died because their silicone implants burst and leaked into their body and killed them. This is real. It's life altering. My life will never be the same. I want to keep going back to that. There's days I wake up and I'm like, I miss myself prior to all of this. And this is just my reality now. It is what it is. I can't fix it, but it really does. There's days that I wake up and I'm like, I just wish this was a bad dream. I wish I could just like wake up and be who I was. But I'm never going to be that again. Breast implant illness has taken that away from me. I will get it back like slowly, but I'm never going to be the same. I am forever changed because of those implants. All we have is each other too. I just want to say that like the reason I'm doing this is in the vain hope that someone listening will come across this podcast and be like, oh my God, she gets it. That's what I'm going through. Please reach out to me. Please. I stay up every night messaging women. Please. I feel very strongly about this. Like I said, it's a calling. I want to help. I want you to know that you're not alone. I want you to know that you're not crazy because you're not. I was called crazy for a long time. And I'm not, my husband isn't one that he believes it. He knows it's real. I don't know what I would have done if he didn't and if he challenged me. I would have lost my shit. But there was a time before they got really bad and we even talked about getting new implants. There was a time where, when I was starting to complain of the fatigue, I'd come home and I'd say, God, I'm just so tired. I couldn't even go to the gym today. And he'd be like, Caroline, we're all tired. Like, just drink some pre-workout. Like, you'll be fine. Like, I'm tired too. I just pushed through. And I'm like, this is different. This isn't just me pushing through and drinking some extra caffeine. I have nothing. So like when I go work out, even if I do push it, I feel like I'm dying. Like my body is breaking down, and it was. And then after is what's really weird. Working out is supposed to energize you. Towards the end, it would suck everything out of my body that I had to give. And then I would have to take a day off and literally sleep because it would literally suck everything out of me. So it took something from me. Working out was my life and it took that away from me. I couldn't do it physically. Now I can go work out and I'm still not to the point where I'm pushing it like I was prior, but that's normal. I'm only 10 months post-op. I'm not, I do sometimes expect miracles, but like yesterday, I was able to actually push myself and I worked out. Yesterday was my third workout this week where I lifted weights and I didn't feel like crap afterwards. And I don't feel like crap today. And I'm not dragging ass today. I actually have energy. So it's been a really long process. A lot of ladies are going to ask about, hang on, before I get really off track, there was something I wanted to remember to say. I got to go back in my brain or I'll forget it. Okay. I want to talk about my muscle after I talk about the detox. A lot of women ask about detox protocols. I personally did not do a detox protocol. It does help if you do. I just didn't. Probiotics have made a massive shift. I did a gut map test. We found some stuff like on those results and I've gotten on a probiotic here recently and that has helped significantly with my mental health and my energy levels. So I want to say that. My epinephrine was low. I got put on something for that. We had to test my neurotransmitters to figure that out, but we figured it out. And now I'm taking an adrenal, like glandular formula. It's basically like adrenal tissue from like a pig or a cow, and it stimulates my medulla to produce epinephrine because my epinephrine was in the dirt. So that has helped, but I've had to do a lot of testing since I explanted and we figured out most things and I'm coasting right now. Like I feel pretty good. It's taken a while to get here though. I'm going to go back and talk about the muscle and I'm going to have pictures put up just so that you can be like, holy fucking shit. When I was not really able to push myself in the gym, I noticed, I had a massive amount of muscle tone, but I'm going to have JJ put a picture up of like, I was fucking ripped and I was beefy. Like I loved my body for the first time in my life. I had worked tooth and nail to get it to look like this and I was happy. And slowly when those symptoms began, slowly over those 2 years, I noticed my butt was getting like really flat, but I wasn't changing what I was doing. Like I was still working out. I was still lifting when I could. And I asked my husband, I'm like, I feel like I'm losing my muscle. Like what's going on? He was like, I don't know. So because I still had a coach, I was taking progress pictures and sending them to my coach. And I was like, what in the hell is going on with my body? Like it felt like no matter what I did, nothing changed. And here is a perfect example. So my coach was like, let's drop your calories and just see what happens. So we dropped my calories from like 2,100 to like 1,700 for like 2 or 3 weeks. Body didn't change. It was crazy. No change. So then he was like, fuck it. Let's try 2,700 and see where you do with that. We upped me to 2,700 calories. Body didn't change. Nothing was changing. It was like my body was stuck in time. It was fucking crazy. And it was driving me nuts. It was like, no matter if I overate, my body stayed the same. If I underate, my body stayed the same. So it was like, it didn't matter what I did. My appetite had really started to dwindle towards the end and I wasn't eating dinner. For about 8 months prior to my explant, I literally was not eating dinner because I was so nauseated every night. Didn't know why. After I explanted, the day after I explanted, I called Dana and she was like, do you want me to bring you anything? I said, I want fucking Charleston's Caesar salad with like pecans and avocado. Like bring me all the food. And I stuffed my face. And literally from the day I explanted, my appetite has been crazy. Like I had some ups and downs after because, the anesthesia stays in your system for a while, but I had some ups and downs with it, but my appetite is like back. It's crazy. And I've gained some weight, which really I do care, but I don't care. It feels good to be hungry again and to want to eat. So after I explanted, I had not started working out till like the 10-week mark. The picture I'm going to show you now is the picture before when my body was deteriorating. And then I took a picture of, I think it was my ass. This picture blew my mind because my body started looking the way it did before I started deteriorating and I was not even working out. None. I'm not exaggerating. No workouts. Explain that. It's like my muscle was like magically coming back. Like I wasn't having to work for it. When I did get back in the gym, I was only able to go about 20% of what I was before. So not able to push very hard at all. I mean, not even at the 50% mark. I'm saying 20% solid. That was all I had to give. And I was making it maybe twice a week. My body was still changing for the better. Like my muscle was returning and I was literally doing 20% of what I was doing before. Like 1 or 2 days a week instead of 6 days a week. Explain that. I still can't. I have people who are like, you got butt implants. I'm like, no, I didn't. I swear to God. Like, I promise you, I would tell you if I did. I tell you guys everything. I can't explain it. I mean, I can. Like, my body is able to heal now and not, like, my body was so busy fighting those implants, those foreign objects in my body, that it was literally taking every cell of energy just to fight them. And so there wasn't anything left. So it was like, it didn't matter if I ate 8,000 calories. My body was like, dude, we're too busy taking care of these. Like, we got to make sure you stay. That's what your body does. It is a mechanism to keep you safe. If you inject or put something into your body that is not supposed to be there, your body immediately is like, what can I do to keep this body safe? So it forms the capsules around it. Well, when you start suffering from breast implant illness, that's why you don't have energy. That's why everything kind of starts shutting down. And that's why all of your symptoms are so random. Like, it's the inflammation causing all of this crazy fucking shit, like headaches and mental confusion and brain fog and ear issues and throat issues and swallowing issues and bladder issues and fucking joint pain. Like, they're so random, but it's essentially your body is like fighting against something that shouldn't be there. And it's horrible. I'm going to wrap it up here. So, I want to end with, again, if you are struggling, if you know someone that could be struggling, please reach out to me. I'm always here, day or night. Reach out to me. Click the link underneath this video and email me or whatever. I got really frustrated the other day at the gym because I was doing the hack squat with no weight. And it was so heavy. But I was doing the hack squat and I did 3 sets. And you don't have to have heavy weight to get a good workout or to stimulate muscle growth. You don't have to. You just have to get that. You can either do like time under tension or just, it really is mind to muscle connection. And you can feel when your muscles are giving. It's like doing a wall sit. So, someone would say, oh, you got to be lifting real heavy, squatting really fucking heavy to get your glutes to grow. No. So doing a wall sit for like 2 or 3 minutes with no weight, you'll feel like you're dying. You'll feel like your glutes are on fire. You can still build muscle doing stuff like that with low weight. Well, like I said, I was doing the hack squat with no weight, which was depressing because I used to do a lot of weight on the hack squat. But I did 3 sets and I was really able to push myself and feel my glutes firing. And I left the gym and there was another girl there and she's just fucking stacked and ripped. Every time I see her, I'm like, I want my butt to look like that again. I want my quads to look like her. She's just stacked. And I felt so weak laying there on the floor. After every set of my hack squat, I would sit down on the floor. So tired. And I was like, I am a fucking shell of what I used to be. Why? I'm just a shell. I used to be the baddest bitch in the gym, and I am such a fucking joke. That's how I feel a lot of the days at the gym. Because I'm not able to do what I want to do, and my body just physically can't get there yet. It's frustrating. And it fucks with your mind. Well, when I left, I was like, okay, what were you doing like 3 months after your surgery, after your explant? I mean, I could barely do anything. What was I doing before my explant? I physically could not even go into the gym and start a workout because I would be so tired. I would turn around and leave. Like I told you guys, if you guys have followed me for a while, you know that right before my explant, I wasn't even working out. I was crying about the fact that I physically couldn't work out. Like my brain was like, go to the gym, work out. My body was like, nope. I stopped going to the gym. It was pointless. I'd walk in and get tired looking at the equipment. So when I focus on that period of time, when I go to the gym, couldn't do anything at all because I was so tired. And if I somehow squeezed out a 15-minute workout, I would feel like I was dying. That's not like that anymore. So looking at it from that perspective gives me so much fucking hope. It takes me from feeling like a weak little broken dying bird because I'm comparing myself to this other chick in the gym who's just killing it. I stopped comparing and looking at that and I go, okay, I'm gonna look at this. Where was I a year ago? I sure as fuck wasn't working out. I couldn't. Now I'm able to actually work out. It doesn't matter if I had no weight on the hack squat. It doesn't matter if I did 14 reps total. It doesn't matter. What matters is I did something, and that's a lot more than I was able to do before I took my tits out. And now when I leave the gym, I don't have the feeling of I need to go home and take a nap. I feel energy again. It's giving me energy again. It's slow. It's slower than mud. But it's happening, and every week that goes by, I feel better and better and better. I even had forgotten, when I was prepping to film this today in the car on the way to drop my kids off, I had forgotten about the ear pain because I was mentally going through like, okay, all my symptoms. I was like, I've been doing this since last night, like prepping what I wanted to say. And I was like, I almost forgot about the fucking ear pain. Like that is what's really cool. You legitimately start forgetting about stuff, like symptoms that ruled your life at one point. Like that was one that I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that. Huh. Now the symptoms I still have that are lingering, that have not completely gone away. I still get really tingly fingertips. Like my fingers will like go numb randomly. Not all the time, but that's kind of a lingering thing. Sometimes I'll get that phantom knee pain. Very few and far between though. My joints feel strong again. I still have the throat clearing. That one drives me fucking crazy. I still sometimes feel like I swallow more than normal. My scary thoughts are way less. That's improved a lot. There's something else. Shit. But I mean, aside from that, like all my other symptoms have gotten either significantly better or they're gone. Like they're just a thing of the past. And so I just want to be a beacon of hope for any woman listening or watching this. Even if you have breast implants and you have no symptoms at all, please just at least take this and seed it in the back of your mind and have it just in case you do at one point maybe start experiencing symptoms. You'll know. If you don't have breast implants, for the love of God, please don't get them. Please, please, please. If I could do anything, I'd go back in time and not do it. Inform yourself. Ask around. Just look it up. Go on Instagram and fucking type in the hashtag BII or explant and you'll get everything you need from there. Don't do it to yourself. It's not worth it. I've even joked that I want to go and get like a mastectomy because I have these fibroid cysts in my boobs. I had those before I got my implants put in. And what's really weird is they were so painful before I got implants. And then when I got my implants in, I'd never felt them because my implants were under the muscle. So like I don't know if it like, I just never felt them and they never hurt when I had my implants in. When I explanted, holy shit. Like they've grown, they got really big. They hurt. They're hurting right now. I went and got a mammogram just to make sure. Cause I went to my gyno and I was like, okay, I got my boobs out, but like these fibroid cysts hurt so bad. Like I can't even touch my boobs without it hurting. And she was like, I want you to go ahead and get a mammogram. You haven't had one. Let's get a baseline. And then they may want to do an ultrasound. So they did when they did my mammogram. She's like, I do want to ultrasound that left one because there's a really large lump in there. So we just want to make sure that it is just a fibroid cyst. So we did the ultrasound. And of course, the ultrasound tech was like, oh, wait, let me go get my manager. I just want her to take a look. I want a second set of eyes. So I'm like flipping out. Like I'm for sure something's wrong. I'm in there crying. She left me in there for like 10 minutes. So like you can imagine that 10 minutes felt like 3 hours. Finally, the other ultrasound manager tech or whatever came in. She did like ultrasounded and was like, you're fine. It's scar tissue. She said, but I do want you to do a mammogram every year now. I was like, okay, I will. But I've even told my husband, no lie, like I may call Dr. Ho and just do a consult about him taking everything. Like I've totally separated what having boobs means. It doesn't define you as a woman. It doesn't make you look sexier. I truly don't believe that. Maybe some of you still do. I don't believe that at all. I wouldn't even mind being like completely flat with nothing, no nipples, nothing. Like, because these fibroid things hurt so terribly bad that, I mean, I kind of wish I would have just done that like when I went under the knife the first time. But again, I don't know if I'm going to do that, but it's in the back of my brain of, I mean, maybe someday down the road I will, because they're painful every day, all day. I can't even lay on my side sometimes because it hurts so bad. Anyway, that's everything. I have my papers all over the floor here. I love you, ladies. Men, if you're watching, please, please, please listen to your women. Please know about this, and just, even if you have a sibling or a friend or your mom, like any woman in your life, like make sure they just know. That's all I ask. This is just awareness. I want people to be aware of it. And that way you can then make your own informed decision. I'm never going to come on here and tell someone what to do. I'm never going to be like, well, I will say, don't get breast implants, but I can't stop anyone. Like, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. Just know, like, it's ruined my life. I don't want to say completely ruined, but it has. It took a lot of things from me, and I'm still recovering. Like, we're going on 3 years now, 3.5 years, and I'm still not fully healed. So that's it for today. I'm here all the time. Reach out if you want to chat, and yeah, share this video, spread awareness, help me spread awareness. You can send people to my Instagram. I have a couple of BII highlights with a lot of good information on them. I post about it all the time. So shoot people that way. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for checking out the CWC podcast. If you want to learn more about our community, make sure to check out the show notes.